Look, I wasn't really ready for this movie. Frankly, I don't think you will too. This movie definitely caught me off guard. Not in a bad way, but in the most satisfying way possible. So, with that in mind, let's have an honest talk about Clerks 3.
Hello there, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and children.
Now, right off the bat, if you know me, you know I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan. Always have been since the 90s, early 2000s. Everything that he has created in movie form, I own. The man has inspired a lot of independent filmmakers, um, as well as myself. I have two screenplays so far. One about my life, like how he has done, except mine plays with music between the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s because I graduated in 2008. And then a horror screenplay. Now, that's not trying to showcase what I've done, as this isn't about me, it's about him and the inspiration that he provides to everybody who is wanting to be a filmmaker. And let's face it, the man created Clerks in New Jersey, filmed it at a quick stop, and it cost him $20,000. The guy sold his whole entire comic book collection to make the film, to live out his dream. And he showcased that film in a theater in, I believe it was Red Bank, New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken, where out of luck, a guy who was part of the film industry saw the film. It was the only other guy in the theater other than Kevin, his friends, family, who helped propel him to being the creator that he is, the filmmaker that he is. So Kevin in the independent film series genre, as well as a lot of the Hollywood directors that you see, Clerks in his movies has played a huge part to it. Now, the thing is with his screenplays and with his movies, you know, I've seen a pattern in terms of his films have heart when it needs to have heart. But really, if you want to have a good time, a good laugh, that's what his movies like to do. And let's face it, Clerks is one of those movies that you go in for a fun time, especially the first one, as far as dialogue goes. And Clerks 2, you go into the film, you have a fun time, you have a joyous fun time, but there's some heart in there. And that is the pivotal point where I believe is where his maturity, as well as in terms of writing and screenplay, actually started. Now, you may say that some of his later films in his life, such as, Cop Out, wasn't him. And, in a way, it wasn't because he didn't write it, he directed it. Not saying that Cop Out was a bad film, because it's not. It's enjoying. And if you're a Kevin Smith fan, then you'll enjoy the flick. He likes to dog on it, but frankly, a lot of people like it. He likes to dog on some of his other flicks, like, you know, Yoga Hosers, Tusk, but I enjoyed them. And a lot of people enjoyed them. But the issue is the fact of a lot of critiques, a lot of critics say a lot of negative things, but they're not taking it at face value and understanding his creativity and his art. Now, going back to the whole thing with Clerks, Clerks 2, in my opinion, was a start of, in a way, very mature writing and aspect that he slowly integrated in his more recent films. You have Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, which of course has the fun aspect of it. And when I saw a trailer for it, I was extremely hyped about it. I was looking forward to it so much, so much. And when I saw it, I enjoyed it. I loved it. But the one thing I wasn't expecting about it was the fact of how mature the writing has evolved, and with him as well. How much he actually, when he wants to tear at your heart, he can actually do that. And it's just on his writing, but also the actors and actresses that he has that comes along on the journey with him. Now, Clerks 3 does just that. You come on along with Dante and Randall. Now, I will say, when I saw the trailer, unlike Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, I wasn't sure what I was feeling. And that's not saying a bad thing because I knew that it was going to be something different. And again, not a bad thing. Not like Star Wars, The Last Jedi, where Force Awakens I was excited about and I loved it. Last Jedi, watched it, I hated it. Clerks 3 is different. Clerks 3, you kind of I was expecting something different and possibly a little bit more mature writing, but I wasn't ready for the level that this film provides. And that's a lot of heart. And the way that it brings it out in the film, it showcases it. So let's dive into Clerks 3 a little bit here. Everybody knows, of course, there's Randall and Dante, and they've created their journey through a whole series of USQ. You see them at Clerks, which is, early 20s people. And, with that, it was kind of evolve and you see friendships amongst each other, kind of like early college type years, possibly. You see Clerks 2, where you have that friendship, you have that banter. A few more people come along for the ride, like Rosario Dawson's character. Then you have, Elias as well, who is the character in there who is very, Christian oriented. And you come on for the fun, enjoying ride that it provides, except at the very end, it brings heart and level to it. But the thing is you have the character development with Dante specifically, and he grows a lot in that film. Where Randall is kind of the same. Not saying that's a bad thing because Randall has always been that character, but in this film, he grows. He grows a lot as a character. There's a lot of individuals in this film with the character basis that grows. Talk about character development and very sought out, very well done within, I believe it was like an hour and a half to maybe hour and 45 minutes of the film. And like I said, this is different in a good way. And this is very different as far as background goes on what you guys see and what you're used to, because I had to take a seat on this one. I had to sit down because, again, I wasn't ready for this flick. And through Clerks 3, you learn a lot. I'm not giving away any spoilers because I feel like this film, it deserves your attention. It deserves the love, especially as a Kevin Smith fan. If you are, it deserves your love to go out, watch it yourself, make sure that nothing gets spoiled because it's beautifully done. I will say it's the Clerks swan song. And if you haven't heard it before, that's great because I just made it up now. I just started it. So hashtag the Clerks swan song of movies. Because this is, as Kevin says, a conclusion, and it's a perfect conclusion. You see the relationship between Dante and Randall become full circle. Not saying it was a full circle before, because they had their moments in the past, but this is a complete, full, and utter circle as far as Randall and his maturity, what he accomplishes, what he doesn't accomplish, and what he learns. And then you have Dante, who, in a way, gets over some struggles, gets over his life, and goes in peace in terms of with the banter and the friendship. And both of them go in peace in terms of the character development. So again, I'm trying not to provide a review where it provides spoilers. And I want to have you guys be able to have the opportunity to go see it yourselves because, I mean, you deserve not only Kevin that much, but you deserve yourself that much. Now, if you're going in for a fun flick, you will get that. Absolutely. There's a lot of banter, less Jay and Silent Bob, but that's okay because you didn't get, you got about equal amount for them in this film as you did in Clerks 2. In the first Clerks movie, coming off of Jay and Silent Bob reboot, you had the whole movie about them. And just like in reboot, You find out you have Jay develop as a character, very, very much so, and as a father as well. In this one, there's so much character development just specifically on Randall that it was so needed before. But you don't really know that until you watch the flick, until you understand the flick, because this film is a Randall movie. It is not a Dante movie. There are elements of Dante and his character development, but this is very much a Randall character development movie. And for his character, it's well deserved. And in a way, it finishes the Clerks trilogy on how, honestly, perfectly, and how quite possibly it should in this case. And I really hope that there's not another Clerks movie because, again, this is the Clerks swan song of the New Jersey duo. And in all honesty, it was fun. It was enjoying. I enjoyed it very much. It's definitely a flick that I'll be watching over and over. It's just like Reboot goes. And you could tell, as far as the writing experience goes, the elements of maturity as far as writing goes and the development of a writer that throughout the countless years that Kevin has had and provided to all of his fan base, it glistens in this film. It absolutely 100% glistens. There are throwback calls to the original Clerks. There's also a few throwback calls to Clerks 2 as well. And it's very much refreshing in the way. So if you guys haven't seen it, please go out see it. Do yourself a favor and go out see the flick, because usually I'm up in front of a camera, kind of being energetic, being very much engaging as much as I can. This one, I really needed to sit down and actually have a straightforward conversation about it, only because, again, I wasn't ready for it. I knew something was different about it in a good way. And it was absolutely that. It was to the point where, you know, Elias, his character, extremely develops a hundredfold. I would honestly say a complete 180 or 360 in a way. Jay and Silent Bob, I mean, they're Jay and Silent Bob, but you also have characters from the past as well show up. Some of which that I didn't think were still alive in the View Askew universe, but they are. So, not saying that I don't know if Kevin will ever watch this video. To be honest, it's probably video will only get maybe 20, 40 views at the most. That's how this channel apparently has been growing. But I'm okay with that. If it grows more, fantastic. And if you haven't yet followed, go ahead and follow. But if this does, of course, reach Kevin, obviously want to extend the thanks for always bringing his fan base the top tier level that he knows how to provide. The thanks for creating a universe that everybody like myself can love and enjoy. And if it may not be for people, and that's okay, because Kevin likes to call out and bring entertainment for the folks that don't really have a voice, that has a voice, who perpetuated their voice but also feels that they don't get heard. So obviously thanks to Kevin for his wonderful writing skills, techniques, movies, and making a little man feel like he's being heard, because at the end it's a movie that definitely hits those feelings and really brings the spark in the independent filmmaker if you've ever wanted to be one. So again, go watch the movie. You'll enjoy it. I know you will, because I enjoyed every minute of it. To be honest, I could watch it for another 2 hours of just straight the whole entire movie. Not saying repeat. I'm saying if the story lasted for 4 hours, I would watch it, because it was that very well written. It was the Zack Snyder Justice League of the Clerks movies. It was, and I'll say it again, hashtag the Clerks swan song. So Hope you guys have a great night. It's 10 o'clock over here. Want to make sure I film this, get this out to you guys. Enjoy the rest of your nights, morning, whenever you hear this, watch this, because YouTube as well. Hit the follow button and stay tuned for another movie review.